Justin's week 1 fantasy football must start list. So Justin, at
Yeah.
at the risk, hold on one second. At the risk of giving away secrets to his opponents, Justin is going to go ahead and give his must start list. And obviously, if you don't have these guys on your team, well, you can't start them. So, but here we go. Justin's fantasy football must start list week 1.
Yeah, so at the risk of giving away my secrets, yeah, it's all good. Everyone knows that there's guys that are must starts, right? The Josh Allens of the league, the Mahomeses, Justin Jeffersons, the Cooper Kupps, the Ecklers, the Mixons. Those guys, the top quality players. So these guys that I'm going to be mentioning, they're going to be more guys that you might go, well, I don't know if I'd start them, but because of the matchup that they have, this is why I'm going to start them. And not only they are good players, It's just people are going to look at them and be like, oh, well, by name, that's someone I'm going to start, because we all know who the plug-in players are in the league. These are the guys that every week ago, if they have a good matchup, we're going to play. All right, so I want to start with my quarterback, Russell Wilson. Man, listen, all the motivation in the world to go have a really, really good game over here in Seattle. Not to mention Seattle just stinks overall as a team. Their defense, their offense. He left the team, and once he left, their team really just fell apart. I expect a big game. I expect a big game out of Denver's offense entirely. Sutton, Judy, their running backs, they should have a big game. I'm predicting 300 passing yards and 3 TDs in this game. I think Wilson's going to come out really excited. It's going to have a really big game. Probably won't get much on the ground, but he'll be very efficient. I mean, it's going to be very Russell Wilson-like, very efficient, protecting the ball, getting the team in the red zone, and instead of getting field goals, making sure they get touchdowns. So expecting a big game out of Wilson and what is a revenge game is what I'll call it.
Hey, that's I like that one. I'll be honest with you. I think Russell Wilson's not gonna blow anything. He's not Aaron Rodgers, but
yeah,
Russ can cook. I can tell you that. He can cook. Seattle knows that. It's a Monday night game. Oh, he's gonna be hyped. Seattle's not very good. I could definitely see him getting 300 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Who knows Seattle's defense better than him?
Yeah, very true.
Who knows it better than him?
Exactly. Yeah, I like that one. All right, what you got next?
So my running back start of the week is my redemption start. That's going to be Antonio Gibson. He's going to go redeem himself. And it's not because he earned it, unfortunately. It's because there's 3 running backs on the depth chart for the Commanders right now. 2 of them are injured. One of them is certainly not going to be playing week 1. We do hope, of course, Brian Robinson is okay after apparent, carjacking and getting shot. But nonetheless, it opens up those opportunities again for Gibson, who we know when he's given opportunities, he can thrive and he can produce in fantasy. The matchup against the Jags, it's a prime matchup. They're not a great team, especially not on defense. I do think they're a better team than last year, but again, I think it's a great matchup for Gibson to go and redeem himself. Not going to have a lot of competition for touches or anything like that. So I think he's going to have a really big week. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get 22 total touches. That'd be through the ground and through the air, over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Okay. Yeah, I think Gibson, again, for unfortunate reasons, I think that they're going to lean on him a lot in the backfield. Obviously, we do hope Brian Robinson is okay after being shot multiple times. Sounds like obviously he's going to survive. Hopefully, he's able to continue playing football at some point, which I know is secondary to him just being okay and being living a normal life after you get shot. But back to fantasy football. Yeah, I think that Gibson has a good chance to have a good game. I think the matchup, as you mentioned, is a good matchup fantasy wise when you're talking about playing against the Jags. Um, at the same time, I think overall, I think the I'm giving away a little secret for next week, but I think the Jags beat the Commanders. But that's just me. But I think I think he's gonna have a solid fantasy game. He's gonna catch some passes out of the backfield. He's
Yep.
gonna obviously, get the rock a lot when they do run the ball. And you're right, he's proven that he's been able to be a solid performer when called upon, and he gets a steady dose of touches. So I think that's
Yeah.
going to be the case in week one, and he'll probably end up having a pretty good game as well.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah, so let's go to my wide receiver, Brandon Aiyuk, my guy here. Listen, all this hype throughout the offseason, it's not just beat writers, it's the team, it's themselves, the 49ers teammates, it's the upper management, John Lynch, even everybody's talking about how Aiyuk's poised to break out this year. And it's not just been a small dose of that buzz. It literally has been from the time they, the offseason started last year all the way till now has been how Trey Lance and Brandon Aiyuk have been building chemistry. And then throughout this training camp and stuff, it's been about how Brandon Aiyuk has just really matured, become a professional. He's just, at a much higher level than where he was at this point last year. I think that's going to translate to on the field. 49ers have two wide receiver ones, in my opinion, with Debo and Aiyuk. And when the time comes to pay Aiyuk next year, it's going to be really interesting to see what they do, because I do believe that he's going to have a great season, and it's going to start in week one against the Bears, which again, not a great team. So this is matchup based. I combine the matchup with the noise and the hype surrounding Aiyuk and Trey Lance and what his role is going to be in the offense. And I anticipate him having a big game. I've got him down for seven receptions, over 100 yards, probably about 105 yards, and a touchdown in the game against the Bears. And then my tight end, I've got Pat Freiermuth. He scored in both games against the Bengals last year, so this is not necessarily matchup based. But being Trubisky with a new team, being their new quarterback, I think he's going to be looking to a safety net. Tight ends often a safety net for a quarterback learning a new system. Trubisky's still a young quarterback too, so often safety net for younger quarterbacks. But nonetheless, Freiermuth had two good games against the Bengals last year. I don't anticipate that changing. I think that's going to translate into this year. He's going to score a touchdown, a couple of receptions, 75 yards or so, and he should have a really good game. Be a definite start as a tight end this week.
All right.
Now, my kicker. So I'm going with my guy, Mr. Gabe. All right. And this game, there's going to be a lot of points. And even though I hate the Rams, I believe that they're going to score a lot of points this week. The Bills are going to score a lot of points. And Matt Gay's going to kick a lot of field goals. Both kickers are going to have good games. Tyler Bass, too. So I could have picked him as well here. But I think the first game of the season on a Thursday night, there's going to be a lot of points, going to be some fireworks. I got Matt Gay actually having a big game. 4 field goals in this game, 2 extra points. Should have a nice game for a kicker. Start him. And my defense. So if the 49ers defense was good last year, if the preseason was any indication, they're going to be much better this year, especially in the turnover department. And one thing you love about defenses when you're playing fantasy football is teams that are forcing turnovers. You get points for those, a lot more points for those. So I think they're going to get to the quarterback a lot, which we know they do. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback. Their defensive line is better this year, in my opinion. They're deeper this year. I think they're going to get a lot more sacks as a defense. They're going against the Bears week 1. They don't have a lot of talent on that roster. Justin Fields he didn't show me anything in the preseason to go, well, he made a huge leap.
3 touchdowns in that last game.
I say a huge leap.
Okay.
He made strides, but he didn't make a huge leap. And he lost Allen Robinson, offensive weapon. Their offensive line's not great. He was running for his life a little bit there early on in the preseason, and some of the action he saw. So I just feel like the Niners are due for a couple of sacks, a multi-sack game, probably 3 or 4 sacks, 2 INTs of Fields, who's known to make some bad decisions throwing the ball, and possibly a pick 6 or a scoop and score. So big game for the 49ers defense, especially fantasy-wise.
Well, I sure hope so.
Yeah.
All right. I like those. I think I have all those guys on my team. So, and if not, maybe pick them up in a daily fantasy league. Maybe.
This might be my daily fantasy week 1 start.
Add them to your roster. So, yeah, I like all of those. Obviously, I hope that Aiyuk and the 49ers defense have great games fantasy-wise, because that would mean that they hopefully had a great game on the field as well. Yeah, I think Russ is going to cook like we talked about. So, Freiermuth, I think he's going to be a top 7, maybe potentially top 5 tight end this year. And I think he's, the Bengals, don't get me wrong, the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. They should have all the confidence in the world, but let's be honest, they didn't make it to the Super Bowl because of their defense. They made it to the Super Bowl because they were able to score a bunch of points. Their defense made some plays. I'm not going to say they didn't make any plays at all, but they made some plays. But they were not the reason the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl. The offense was the main reason. And I think that, Freiermuth, again, he's going to be a security blanket for whoever starts at quarterback, most likely Trubisky. And he's probably going to have a pretty good game to start the season off. Probably going to have a good season overall, again, because it's a new quarterback. So,
right.
Yeah, I like that. I like that lineup right there.
I'll go steal my guys now. We got a draft coming up.
We had a draft coming up. Yeah, I'm going to go put all those guys in my queue right now. All right, cool. All right, so we'd love to hear some of your must starts for week 1, or tell Justin how right or wrong he was as well. So leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that great stuff, and let's keep it moving here. That's it, everybody, for another round of I Could Be Wrong. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment. As always, before we let you go, we ask that you please be kind, even to Cowboys fans.